In today's video, I'm going to be doing something I haven't done before. I'm going to be reviewing Clash Royale concepts. So this includes new card ideas, new gameplay ideas, and just new features in general. So starting off here, we got the invisible spell. So as you can see, it makes the prince invisible, minion horde's not able to target it. Now in this concept idea, it's 2 elixir. I think that's way too broken. With that being said though, I do agree with some of the comments here. Someone's saying make it 4 elixir and make it last as short as possible. So if it has a low duration and a small radius, maybe it could be balanced if it was added to the game as a 3 or 4 elixir card. Alright, now guys, I'll be showing you some gameplay ideas. This is awesome, and I wish Clash Royale would do more of this, adding mini games inside of the game. Look at this. This is similar to Plants vs. Zombies, the walnut bowling. So you have your elixir, and you spawn the boulders from the bowler, or you got the log, the tornado, or other things. I feel like this has a lot of potential if they were to add something like this to the game. And this is what I'm saying, guys. If you look at the comments, so many people love this idea. I wish Clash Royale would experiment and try these things like mini games in the game, because I know in Clash of Clans, they have mini games and other things going on. I wish they would try it. You see these guys saying, like, why isn't this a game mode? They don't like to add new things to the game. This is exactly, in my opinion, the type of thing they need to do. And here's another brilliant game mode idea they could add to the game. So it's similar to Balloon's tower defense, except Clash Royale. I mean, just look at this. This looks so cool. It's another mini game they could add. You have the archers, the Dark Goblin that's more elixir than the Magic Archer, and I feel like there's so many different ways they could go about making this. Like with tons of different troops, you see the next round, different waves of stuff. Maybe they could even do the waves instead of balloons. They could do them as enemy troops. I just think this is another awesome idea. Honestly, they should just scrap Clan Wars 2 and just replace it with this. It would be 100 times more fun. I agree. Elixir Collector would be perfect in this map. Make sure to set him on last. I really like this one too. It's an empty tower, so basically you can put a ranged unit inside of it. They say as a joke it's a Diamond Pass exclusive, but this could actually low-key be a somewhat, cool card to have added to the game, because I think they could make it balanced by giving a lifetime to the empty tower, like maybe a minute or 30 seconds or something like that. And then I saw some guys talking here, place an Archqueen there for a longer lasting 3-card cycle, but then they said you could have it champion so it couldn't be placing it. And then here's another idea, make it a champion building. So imagine that's the champion building they add to the game, where the ability is having the ability to add a ranged unit inside of it. That could be kind of neat. This one is a fan card. This is something that could actually be added to the game that I don't think would be overly broken, especially if they made it expensive. Like in this example, you see it's 7 elixir. Maybe they could even decide to make it 8 or 9. And the reason I don't think it would be too broken, pushing things away, is because it could be just in one lane. So if something's coming in the opposite lane, it wouldn't be affected by the fans. So maybe you would just use it if a massive push is incoming. And if it had a duration of only 20 seconds or so, I think it could be made in a way that it's balanced. And I feel like this would be a fairly unique card that we don't really have inside of the game. We don't really have something that pushes something back except the bowler or the log. But this would be continuous because it's a building that doesn't stop. The fan just keeps going. And you see, some people are comparing it to the Air Sweeper from Clash of Clans. That was actually my initial thought when I saw it too. Air Sweeper would be cool. It feels like it's been a while since we've added a proper building. And this is exactly what I was thinking too. It would be a very unique addition to the game, in my opinion. They're saying, although they definitely have to balance it out a bit. And I completely agree there. In the video, it looked broken, like it blowing the super mini packet of the King Tower. I don't think it should affect your own troops. I personally think it should only push the opponent's troops back. And if they do that, make it a high elixir cost and a low duration building, I think it would be a great addition to the game to test out. Alright, so the next idea is a champion spell idea, because at the moment we don't have any spells inside of the game that are champions. So let's have a look at what this is. You got a golden fireball that splits into other fireballs, and then you got basically a rocket that speeds itself up when you tap the ability. So could be used in a pinch where you need to get the tower really quickly or have direct damage instantly. So this could be a possibility of something they could add to spells for them to have an ability. Some comments here about it. I think it's a cool concept, but I don't know how they would introduce it without making them super broken, and especially not making them as champion spells, because that would be way too broken. Someone's saying, I believe the fireball part should do 1/5 of the damage since there's 5 of them. That's a solid option. Maybe it could be a 3rd or a 4th potentially as well. They could experiment with that. And they're saying the rocket one is not broken, it only speeds up the rocket but does not increase the damage. So that's a really good point. So since that's the case, they should either make the ability either 0 elixir or just 1, since all it's doing is speeding it up. So you would only use it probably in specific situations. Next up, we got the Time Spirit. This, in my opinion, is one of my favorite ones so far, and probably one of the most creative. There's a lot of text on the screen that I'll read in a second here, but let's go ahead and watch this short clip of what it looks like. So as you can see, the Time Spirit jumps on the Rascal Boy and rewinds it back a few seconds. So it jumps to the enemies and rewinds them back a few seconds. You can see in the text, enemies that got rewinded keep their original health, so it deals 0 damage. Time Spirit can only hit one enemy at a time, and it doesn't affect buildings. So to me, this doesn't sound too broken, and it adds a new concept to the game that we have never seen before. Changing the time and bringing them back a couple seconds, I mean, that's really creative, but let me know what you guys think. Some comments say way too OP against any pushes with a big tank, aka Golem or Lava Hound, but the animation looks super cool. Props to that. But this guy below said, no, not really. If I know my opponent has this card and I'm playing beatdown, I would probably space my support troops further back. So it would add a little bit of strategy in your beatdown pushes and how you're playing against a Time Spirit deck. You know, you'd have to do things a little differently. So that's why I was saying I think this card could actually add some more strategy and like a new way of playing the game, and it's horrible against swarms, so that helps combat the card a little bit. So depending on the matchup, it wouldn't be too broken. It's kind of the opposite of the Mother Witch, like someone just said. Here's another potential mini game they could add. So this is like a survival mode where basically, as you can see, you start as level 1 and the waves of enemies are easier and you're able to handle them, and then as you level up, you get an upgrade. Like as you saw, you got to select between lightning, sword, and stuff like that, and then as you level up, it gets harder. Like you see now, there's like minions chasing you, and before there was just bats, and then you level up, you keep getting upgrades, and you just try to survive as long as you can. And maybe they could make it customizable, meaning like you get to select a different character. Like it probably doesn't have to just be the Golden Knight, it could be like any card in the game, and maybe there'd be different things chasing you, and there's so much experimentation that can be done. I feel like Supercell adding this type of thing to the game would just give them so much freedom to try just a lot of different things and just make this like a lot of fun, and people could give a ton of feedback. But let me guys know what you think. I think out of all the game modes, this one looks like it's the most like complex, but it also looks very, very fun too. This one's pretty cool, but also kind of broken at the same time. It might need to be more than 2 elixir, but basically it's giving a balloon to ground cards. I think they might need to make it 3 or 4 elixir if they were to do something like this, and I also think the balloons would need a duration, because I think if they stayed on the ground card infinitely, that would just be out of hand. I feel like it would need to have some health, probably ideally a low amount of health, and then maybe a very short duration of maybe 3 seconds or even 5 seconds, and then it could actually be a cool concept added to the game. And I really like this guy's comment. This would make it very interesting. If you add that, if you destroy the balloons via zap, arrows, or another spell, or whatever attacks the balloon, the unit also dies, then it would make it really spicy. I feel like that would help balance it out too. So if you played on an expensive unit, like a P.E.K.K.A., a Golem, a Sparky, or something like that, knowing that when it breaks, it also dies, that would help make it balance, and you know it's a little bit of a gamble if you use it, so it's kind of like a high risk, high reward type of thing. The unit dies, but it was blast damage based on the unit's max HP. So yeah, I feel like there's a lot of creativity, a lot of options that could go into this. Anyways, that's going to be the card concepts. Like, subscribe, and let me know if you guys want me to do something like this again.